I'm speaking to the lovely Melanie Hamilton.
Hi, Helen.
It's long overdue, and I'm so pleased to be able to. It's such a privilege to speak to you today. She's the founder of My Second Chance, which is a wonderful organisation we're going to be hearing more about in a moment. She
Mhm.
is also has been a choir director,
I have.
assistant pastor, youth pastor, and I'm sure there's some wonderful vocal tones in there if you're also a singer as well.
Yes, I am.
And she's currently church engagement manager for London South and East with the Bible Society, and a
Right.
mother of two. Where you ever get the time? But hello, Helen.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. And thanks for that kind of introduction.
Well, that's really lovely. And you're doing this amazing event, which we'll talk about later as well. And I saw you've been in Church of God of Prophecy for 44 years and baptised at the age of 13.
I know, and then people can add that up and get my age from there.
No, when I look at it, I think,
No, not
how is that
really.
possible? That but you obviously
Yeah.
were there from a child, so that's how that's
Yes.
possible.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see the age of 13. Obviously you were churched from your parents, but
Yes.
sometimes it's hard to get kids engaged, isn't it? So,
It
in the
is, and I
church.
think I think sometimes what we miss is that above everything about church is this thing called relationship. And it's ensuring that you teach your children about having that personal relationship with Christ. No one can intervene with that. No one can change the way that you have that relationship because it's unique to you,
Hmm.
and nobody knows you better than Jesus himself.
Hmm.
So, knowing that when I was going to school and I was having some struggles at school and I could talk to him, I knew that somebody was listening to me. So, that day when I surrendered my life and I said yes, I just wanted to do everything for him because it just
Oh.
felt like that's a friend that has stuck with
Hmm.
me, even at the age of 13.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have no issues with still being in that position,
Hmm.
loving on him, because I
Yeah.
know that he's stuck with me through all the things that I've gone through in life.
Oh. And did you ever have any inkling then of what you're doing, what he'd do with you, and how he would use you?
Oh, absolutely not. And I still don't. I still don't know what he's planning or what's going to happen. And I suppose that's the great thing of
Yeah.
it. Because at the end of the day, if he ever told me my journey, I probably would have taken the bus and gone in the other direction. We know Jonah did, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
For me, no idea. All I know is that he gave me a heart to care for people, to love for people, and that I identified from a very young age. And it was something I saw both my mother and father doing. They were divorced when I was 6 years old, but when I went to my dad's home, I saw him looking after the seniors. Right, he used to run a domino club, but the way he nurtured them, and now I can look back and I can see, oh, I understand what he was doing there. They were lonely and he gave them a place that they could come to. My
Mm.
mum on the other side, she was the Christian and she was praying. She had people coming in and out the house all the time, praying for them, sending out letters and caring for them. So indirectly, those seeds were being sown into me. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Isn't that wonderful? And so your mum's a prayer warrior, your dad's a domino king. I've heard the seniors are pretty good at dominoes as well. I wouldn't even.
Listen, don't mess with them. And they're in it to win it, all
Yeah.
the passion.
Wonderful. Oh, that's great. So you had that influence from a really young age. And any brothers and sisters at all?
I do. I have
Mm.
three older brother and
Hmm.
one younger sister. So there's
Oh,
five of us. Yes.
okay. You started Second Chance. Just tell everyone what My Second Chance is all about and how long it's been
Okay.
going.
Right. So we're at 28 years now. Isn't God good?
Hmm.
And it actually was birthed out of a very dark time in my life. I ran a company which was like a fundraising organization where we organized travel and concerts. And I did a major event that flopped.
Oh
And
no.
it flopped literally the week before the event. And we know that people don't really buy tickets in advance and stuff like that. So very much was a faith walk. And I had individuals coming over from the States. Well, everything went wrong when my sponsors pulled out, and there was no support mechanism around me. And the more I talked about it, the more that the things came up, is the more depressed that I got. I mean, and I know those words now. I didn't understand it at the time when it happened. And Helen, the enemy was speaking in my ear and saying, what have you got to lose? If you go, all your debts will be sorted and whatever. And that's exactly what I did. I took an overdose. But God was faithful. God allowed me to awake from the sleep. I slept for 3 days. Don't worry, I'm not Jesus, so I wasn't resurrected. But I woke, and on my record, it wasn't record played, like a tape deck, but it had a radio on it. And I don't know how or what happened, but when it turned on, this song, when I woke up, I could hear this song playing in the background, For You're the God of a Second Chance, which is done by Hezekiah
Yeah.
Walker and sung by Monique Walker. And I heard that song, it registered in my spirit. I cried and cried and cried, and that stayed with me. And that's how the company is called My Second Chance, because that song just resonated and saw me through some of the darkest seasons. And then I realized there and then that God gave me my purpose, that nobody should go through this stuff without somebody to talk to, somebody that could understand, and someone that wouldn't be ashamed to tell their story. And that's why I don't feel any kind of fear when I tell people I tried to take my life, because that was the reality of it. I was depressed. I had no one to go. The church was mocking me. You know, who did she think she was? She thought she was so great. And although that was what I was hearing, and even if they weren't saying it like that, that was what the enemy was allowing me to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do through Second Chance. I talk to people, I share my testimony, I give them a safe place to come and to tell me about what they're going through. And then I minister to them and the team that's around me. And the team, funny enough, will consist of a lot of people that have gone on the journey themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And want to give back. And that's the beauty of it, that we
Mm-hmm.
don't come from a place of judgment, we come from a place
Mm-hmm.
of experience.
It's funny. I never envy promoters, because especially with the last minute .comers that they don't buy the tickets in advance. I just think
Mm.
I don't know how you do it. So,
No, and it
you know,
was hard, to be honest, Helen. And I think I'll always say this to Marcia, because Marcia doesn't even remember,
mm-hmm.
but Marcia
Yeah, yeah.
Dixon, a voice, literally after this event flopped, she wrote one of the nicest articles you could
Oh,
ever write about somebody. And she made the point, look, promoters have vision.
mm,
You know, they have dreams and aspiration, and that's why they put these events on.
mm,
We've got to learn how to back and support.
yeah,
And, let's not crucify her.
mm,
Let's support,
yeah,
Mel. She tried to do something and it didn't work. And to be honest, that helped. And
mm,
not only did she help, but Twinkie Clark, who was
yeah,
one of the
yeah,
singers who was on my bill to come over,
mm,
she said, Mel, I don't care. I'm coming. Right.
oh,
And I'll always have that love and respect for her.
mm-hmm.
And she came over and we put her up, and she came to our national convention and told them there, look, this is not something she made up. She was doing this. I was coming, and she sang in the convention. And I got a little bit of respect back,
Wow,
if that, and that for me was a time of restoration,
yeah.
a little bit of healing. But the journey was a long journey to get me to where I am today. But I am
Yeah,
healed and
yeah.
delivered by it all.
Well, if yeah, that Hezekiah song, that healing, that when you heard the song, that would be the sort of the healing process
Yeah,
starting,
beginning,
and then
yeah,
and
because
then
he is a God of a second chance. And that's
yeah,
what God was saying to me. Come on, Mel, get up, get on with this. I've got purpose in
mm,
this. And I'll never, ever forget or stop telling that story,
yeah.
because believe me, it's his redemptive grace that have brought me here.
Yeah, you learn from your failures. Is will be your success. I'm sure many artists and singers have been through it as well. It's you just have to
Yeah,
keep on going, don't you? But you've done various events over the years, and you're doing this wonderful event over the Easter break
I
called the
am.
Great Exchange. What a wonderful name as well, and it's called a movement. Describe it as a
We
movement.
have a scripture that second chance was given from the very beginning, and that's Isaiah 61. And it talks about the exchange, it talks about us giving God our ashes, and he gives us beauty.
Mm,
Now, what I always look at the fact, he's willing to take the things that nobody else wants.
mm,
He's willing to take that spirit of heaviness to give us a garment of praise.
mm-hmm,
And that has always stuck with me. That's why it sits so well with what Second Chance does.
mm-hmm,
We are willing to deal with the mucky stuff,
mm-hmm,
the things that nobody else wants to look at, the person that everybody else wants to reject. Come on over to Second Chance. We want you, because
mm-hmm,
God does not look at the sin. He looks at what you can become in
mm-hmm,
him.
mm,
He rewrites our lives. He repositions us. He does all those great things to us. So that's what it meant, is meaning by the great exchange. And when I think about when God asked me to do it, what a perfect time to do this great exchange at Easter.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think about what that he died the ultimate shame on the cross so that I and you could have life and have it more abundantly. So yeah, I'm so excited about this.
Now it's taking place Brockley Baptist Church.
Yeah, it's at the Brockley Baptist Church, which is South London, hence my accent also.
Wow, that's a very well spoken South London accent if ever I heard one.
Oh, thank you very much.
You've got some great
Yeah,
speakers as well. I saw Bishop
yes,
Noel McLean's there. And
yeah.
are you singing?
I'm not sure because I've got quite a lot of singers that will be
Right.
there.
Okay.
Jackie Manning, she's going to be leading our worship this year for us. And I think God has taken me on this massive circle because Jackie used to be with us in the early days and she's come back to lead. So it's absolutely brilliant. And so we'll have the My Second Chance worship team. Then we'll also have the lovely Sharon Jackson, who will be one of our guest psalmists. I met her not too long ago at a women's event that I was speaking at. So she'll be there. But also on the Good Friday, it's a worship night, but a different one. What we plan to do, we have individuals that will be singing, but they're going to share their testimonies of what they've gone through.
Brilliant.
And it's absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited. We've got Isaiah Raymond.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's got a really great testimony.
Brilliant testimony. And Lorene Cato.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And they both will be singing and they both will be sharing their testimony. We've also got our own David Fisher. He's going to be singing and sharing his testimony, but he also will be with us throughout the weekend.
Wonderful. So it's over the weekend. How much is it to get in and how do people register? Because it's the whole weekend. There's workshops on the Saturday. You've got your Easter Sunday service. People, it sounds like they're not going to leave the same way they came.
Oh, that is, and that's why it's called a movement, right? And the desires of our heart that nobody, doesn't matter who it is, right, should not leave the same. That's what the exchange is about. Come in with your ashes, come in with your issues, come in and go out with joy, go out with the oil of joy, go out with the garment of praise. That is what this transaction is about, okay? So you asked me about payment. I am opening it as a free in the sense that I want those that have left Christ for whatever reason to come. Those that are in church and they're dormant, they're not doing the things that they know they should be doing. We want them to come.
You know, people become curious at Easter that don't really know, aren't churched or don't know Christ. What about a Christian bringing someone like a neighbour or a work friend or a cousin or someone?
Just tapped right in. That's what we want. We want us to get back to this thing of bringing our friends to church, bringing our family members to church because they understand what Easter is, but we want them to have an encounter. We want them to come in and to experience God. That's why I'm not putting a limit on it. I'm just trusting God that he's just going to bring the resources, the funds in. Because of course, an event like this does cost money, but I don't want to put the onus on the individual. I want them to come and meet Christ. You know, if somebody wants to donate, please donate. Yeah. If you have, we've put a fee, we've got like a VIP ticket you can have, and that will cover the whole weekend. You'll get conference t-shirt, you'll get all your meals, all of that will be incorporated in there. But if you haven't got it, and you really haven't got it, we want you to come.
Wonderful. I was going to ask you, is there food on sale? Or because obviously people do think about food, and if they're coming from far, because obviously we're a international radio station, there might be someone in Scotland or in Greece that might decide that they want to come to your conference.
Yeah.
Have you got food on sale?
We've got food on sale because those that don't know, another part of My Second Chance is our community project, which is Nancy's community meal service. And they will be catering. There'll be a team that will be there. There'll be a full meal on the Saturday lunchtime, refreshments throughout. There'll be supplies there also on the Friday and the Sunday, because the Sunday is incorporating My Second Chance first baptism, and we've already got 5 candidates. How exciting is that? Yeah, God is just doing a great thing. He's just unraveling it for me, and I just you can tell I'm excited.
Have you got any spare t-shirts just in case someone decides on the day that they want to jump in that
you
pool?
better believe we've got them all prepared for the whosoever will, let them come. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful. So, and are children allowed?
Everyone's welcome.
So children
Everyone.
can come.
Yes, they can. Yes,
Okay,
they
I
can.
just wanted to.
And what we do, we're going to be adaptable. So say, for example, we end up and there's a lot of children in the sanctuary. We've got staff that will take them and do something with the children. If
Right.
it's just the odd one and two, then they can sit beside their parent or their carer.
All
We're
right,
fine.
wonderful. And what about the parking? I have to ask all these because we've got the car drivers, you've got the people that take the tube. Is there parking around there?
It's a residential area and there's parking all around.
That's brilliant.
The church itself is a godsend.
Brilliant. Is this the first one you've done of this sort, the Great Exchange?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when we went to Ghana, it was called the Great Exchange. So when we went to Ghana, we did a women's conference there at the ending of September, beginning of October. And we dealt with Isaiah 61 and did the Great Exchange. My sister, Andy and Rodney, did a workshop, which ended up in a ruckus in a good way. We got people talking, moving, and learning about how important it is, the exchange, and then the powerful exchange of taking it to the cross. And we exchanged all that we laid aside and took on a crown. It was such a beautiful thing to see. So that was resonated in my spirit because I felt that some of what we did was lost in translation. Okay. And I knew that God wanted me to do something again. Didn't know when, but it was sown in my heart. But as I came towards the ending of the year, he just said, at Easter here in the UK. And here we are now.
That's what I love about you. You're so humble. You know how God is a God. Well, I'm always discovering He's a God of full of surprises, and every day there can be a new surprise. So, does He have this big long vision that it's going to be a yearly thing, or do you just wait to see what He says?
Do you know what, Helen? I think with me, I don't want to do anything outside of his will. So I do wait. And this particular movement that he's placed in my spirit, he gave me snippets of it when I returned from Ghana, but I had no idea what the legs were going to look like, what the end product. And so as he births it in me, and it's beautiful because it draws me into his presence. That's why I said to you about relationship being so important. And when I'm going to him, I will say, okay, God, what next? And I give you an example. It's quite funny. When he gave me the vision, he said he wants me to have a baptism. I said, my second chance baptism, how do we do that? That doesn't make sense. And I didn't push it. I didn't say anything. I went to this church, Brockley Baptist Church, for something totally different. And God said to me, this is where Nancy's Community Meals is going to operate from. And that's exactly what I went in there. And that's what I did. I was in there from the November. It was in the December, God said, this is where your conference is going to be. I was going, Lord, how can I ask a church to use their building at Easter? Nobody's going to want. And he had already told me it's Good Friday evening, it's Saturday all day, and then Sunday evening. So when I went to the pastor and I said it to him, I said, Pastor Michael, can I use the church for such and such? He said, of course, we do Friday morning and we do Sunday morning. And there's nothing happening on Saturday. So I went, wow. So automatically I went back home and I said, thank you, Lord. But I said, oh, but you said there must be a baptism. There's no baptismal pool there. So I had this conversation with my friend and I said to her, oh, it's fine. I'm going to go and use it at my church because they've got a baptism pool. Oh, she flipped on me. She said, did God tell you to go and go and have the baptism somewhere else? If he's given you somewhere, do it there. We can hire a pool. And we could. I'm standing in the church, maybe 2 weeks after that conversation, standing in the church, Helen, and the pastor is talking to me. I've looked over and I can see this silver bar running across the top of the stage. I said, what's that? It's a baptismal pool and anybody can hire it.
Oh.
So God gave me that vision in October, brought me there in November to do Nancy's, but he already had planned Easter. So for me, I'm loving this journey and I trust him on this journey. I know what Second Chance is about. Second Chance is about healing the broken. That's our remit. All right.
That's what I love.
Going after the lost. That's what my heart is about. And whatever avenue, however he navigates me through this is what I do. And he always puts the things that I need in place at the right time for me. So the answer is, do I plan years ahead? No. I just trust him with the knowledge he gives
Amen
me
to that.
when he chooses to.
And that's what I love about God. He can see our life from start to finish.
Yes,
So
he does.
he also gives us like jokes in between, and
Oh,
I smile. I'm sure you've smiled many times,
oh
and
yes.
the way he
Oh,
does things.
and cried.
Oh, and cried, smiled and cried at the same time. Oh, thank you so much. Of course, I'm talking to Melanie Hamilton, who is the founder of My Second Chance, about a wonderful event she's doing called The Great Exchange. Now, how can people register and just give the event a plug, and how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, so go along to our website, which is www.mysecondchance.co.uk, and just look for the Great Exchange page, and everything is there. There's all details about what's happening on Friday, who will be speaking, and so forth. And at the bottom, the registration form is there. Just fill that in, and that comes through to us, and we'll send you further details. Excellent.
Melanie, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so, so much for sharing
Likewise.
time with us. God bless you.
No, thank you.